Truckers X TV on air. We are now live in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to another episode of 13 Sentinels Aegis Room. In the previous episode, we did some Sentinels. Today we're going to go into Renya Gouto's story. If you have to say something, make sure that like button, support, go and push the channel as we're going to catch up where we left off. Oh, so this is where he'd be staying.
I can no longer rely on Shikishima. Miss Morimura's death has left the Shikishima execs in disarray. Now they won't let me spearhead the Sentinel project, as if I'm just a child. I doubt my opinion will weigh much in their discussions going forward. Miss Morimura, why did you have to die?
So this takes place during when Sekigahara lost his memories. We still haven't figured out about that part in particular, but okay. Maybe one of these guys have a story to tell as to what happened to that death. Maybe back to Sekigahara's story.
Ayame Park, please.
That was pretty quick, Goto-kun.
I checked the corpse at the police station. It was yours, Miss Morimura. There's no doubt about it.
Is that so?
You don't seem too shocked about your death.
Well, it didn't exactly stop me. Here I am, safe and sound.
I suppose that's true.
So, what did the police say?
The cause of death was a gunshot to the abdominal area. No bullet was found in the body. Though it's easy to imagine why. The murder weapon was likely from beyond this time, beyond material bullets. Estimated time of death is approximately 1900 hours. You were witnessed running off somewhere with a short-haired student. According to a pedestrian's eyewitness account, anyway.
They found a witness. This era's police really did their due diligence.
There should have been that drone tracking her movement. So, anything helpful in its footage?
The timing couldn't have been worse. It looks like it was monitoring the government's movement at the time. So she wasn't even under surveillance.
I see.
Any thoughts as to our primary suspect? Who do you think did it?
Well... an acquaintance of Miss Morimura. Described as a short-haired male in a student uniform. Most likely A. Sekigahara. The witness statement matches the description of A. Sekigahara.
It did seem like something was wrong with A. Sekigahara's memories. I wouldn't be surprised if he was our murderer.
Though it raises the question of why he'd bother to lure her out. Surely a murderer's optimal scenario is to avoid being spotted at all.
Well, maybe it wasn't premeditated. He could have killed her by accident.
Well, he certainly is the type to brood over things. I can say he's not enough of an idiot to shoot someone on impulse.
Who else could it be? That man with that... call sign? Some numerical name.
Logically speaking, he would naturally be another potential suspect. He did attempt to eradicate all the compatibles. He's a dangerous individual, and he's still at large. All that's left of 426 is his consciousness. I don't think I could reliably predict his behavior. He's desperate enough to do anything. 426 certainly isn't above killing. If Ida-san were here, I'm sure he'd declare 426 our primary suspect.
We know he killed at least 4 people. That's why I shot him dead in the end. If he resurrected himself as an android, maybe that would give him a chance at revenge. As a motive, it sounds pretty clear-cut.
Miss Morimura, I have one more question.
What is it?
Regarding 426, would you say you had any particular feelings toward him?
Feelings? Well, he was certainly a good friend. I felt like he really understood me. Well, used to, anyway. Where's this coming from?
That doesn't make sense. According to number 18, or should I say, Tamao-san, I had a hunch about Miss Morimura's feelings, and my discussion with Tamao-san only confirmed my suspicions.
Gouto-kun. I'm sorry for this. I know it's sudden. I need to talk to you.
Did something happen?
It's about Morimura-san. She's been transplanting 426's memories onto Juro-kun. I only just found out.
426? As in the escaped android?
No, not that one. She's using the memory data of the man himself. It was saved during the shift.
In other words, she's trying to use Juro to create another 426?
I did my best to talk her down. She's letting me handle Juro-kun's treatment now. Still, I don't think she's given up on this.
Why is she trying to bring back 426?
Well, I've been giving her some advice about it. And I understand where she's coming from, but... Morimura-san is in love with him.
With 426?
Maybe she always has been. That's why she wants him back as a human.
But she has to know the risks. He's a dangerous man.
True, but that's not exactly what she's remembering. Besides, she's the one who killed him. That guilt is still eating at her. Watch over Morimura-san. And try to keep her away from Juro-kun if you can.
I'll keep that in mind.
Thank you. I can barely take the idea of 1426, let alone 2.
So I was right. Miss Morimura did have feelings for someone. When Juro Izumi lost his memories, you aimed to use him to revive 426. Make one a vessel for the other. One reason seems most likely. You harbored romantic feelings for him.
Me? With him? You're joking. That Chihiro Morimura was mind-hacked, remember? You said so yourself.
Ever since the battle that this refers to the aside from Miss Morimura and Ida-san, 4 others came here for refuge 16 years ago. By the time I'd started assisting Miss Morimura's efforts, they'd already lost their physical bodies. Fortunately, we were able to use the data stored in Sector 0. This allowed us to meld their replicated consciousness with AI. As for how they lost their bodies in the first place, reportedly 426 is doing. He destroyed them all in one fell swoop. According to Ida-san's account, anyway. But if number 16 is to be believed, that's not what really happened. And Miss Morimura should be aware of that. I spoke with the pilot of Sentinel number 16. Back then, she gave Miss Morimura something nobody else would. The truth.
Wait, what do you mean? Could you go over that again?
Our defensive maneuvers failed. So we decided to stick to the plan. We all headed to the gate to escape. But there was an explosion while we were shifting. From what I can tell, the Type 98 we were shifting in got attacked. But that's the last thing I remember. After that, nothing.
But that means... Is that how your data was damaged? It wasn't some plot by 426 after all? Just an explosion? We never did manage to completely reconstruct your data. I thought it was just that you didn't get converted in time, but... You were all dead before the shift even happened. Ida-kun, you said he killed the 4 of them. I know you did. You said he sabotaged them, killed them.
Given the chance, he certainly would have.
You lied to me?
He already tried to kill us all in the past. You know he'd have tried again if we left him alive. Killing him was the right call.
No. That means...
I'd like to revisit something you just mentioned. About 426 killing at least 4 individuals. Do you really not remember?
Remember what?
You've read my files, I presume? I gathered quite a lot of material in the past. Most of it is rather outdated, including Ida-san's statement concerning those victims. In other words, your answer is objectively incorrect.
Really? Well, can you blame me? Look at this body I'm stuck with. I'm bound to have some memories confused.
If you recall, I suggested that Miss Morimura was mind-hacked. That idea was based on a certain piece of evidence I found. One particular log.
What log?
If you really are Miss Morimura, then you should already know. 2 years before you were born, Ida-san extracted some information from 426 that in turn led to the discovery of the data log in question. As for the log itself, it contains footage from the year 2188. It was found buried in the mainframe data during the analysis of 426. You seem very disturbed by me seeing that file. So much so, in fact, that you ended up deleting all of your logs. Would you mind telling me why you did that?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Well, at the very least, its contents suggested a connection to 426. Or even that he had been manipulating Miss Morimura. The log contained a very interesting report. Apparently, Juro Izumi downloaded memories onto Chihiro Morimura's clone.
This is Tetsuya Ida. Don't know why I'm recording this. Nobody's going to hear it. Still, might as well. Not like I have anywhere else to share this. I was in the middle of a routine bug regression test, and I noticed part of the Morimura's host. The setting change looks like it'll trigger a memory overwrite. I don't know anything about the memory's contents, but it says the modifying user was Juro Izumi. Because someone thought it'd be a great idea to give that guy senior admin ID. And at this point, well, what the hell can we do about it? At least now I have proof. You're all hypocrites anyway. Yes, including you, jackass. So who even cares anymore? None of this matters. We're all dead anyway.
The log inconveniently revealed one of your secrets. One you were desperate to keep me away from. So you deleted it. That's my theory, anyway. Remember where this all began? It was the compatibility experiment. The one that produced you. Based off Miss Morimura's footage and your own admissions, I've completely misjudged the situation. All this time, I believed you were her. But even from the very beginning, you've been your own person.
So, what are you saying? I'm not Chihiro Morimura? If I'm not a duplicate of Chihiro Morimura, then who exactly do you think I am?
You're Chihiro Morimura.
Well, there you have it.
No, not Miss Morimura, the teacher. Professor Chihiro Morimura. The one from the year 2188. And the central figure of Shikishima's interstellar development project.
Yo, watch this go to 100% right away.
The terminal is completely sealed off.
We did it.
They've changed targets. The next terminal is just over there.
They're already on the move.
Can't even let us catch our breath, huh?
I haven't hit my operating limit yet, but I'm going to dismount.
Whoa, hey, then who's taking point?
Pull it together. We don't need orders to kick some ass.
Oh, it's from that one time in the prologue. Not prologue, whatever. Yeah, it is the prologue, so I don't know what the heck I'm thinking. So it happens during that time. Gotcha. During the tutorial phase.
Chihiro-san.
Look at that sunset. Just like it was back then. It's beautiful. I'm guessing you were monitoring me with a drone?
I have one locked on to you, yes. Their target's changed. They're coming back this way. It's dangerous here. We need to get you to safety.
Aw, don't tell me you're worried about me. How about you mind your own business? You already know how I feel. This is what I wanted.
Still.
More importantly, can you really afford to waste your time here? Or have you already given up? The invasion is still in its preliminary phase.
I've got time. First, I need to get you somewhere safe.
There are no safe places left. At least, none left for us. We're not safe anywhere. But you know that well enough. You're just losing precious time. Go focus on the job you're supposed to be doing.
Understood. I'll go. You'll find it safer towards the river. If, hypothetically, you wanted to know.
Wait. As long as we're both here, there's something I want to clear up. So, tell me. You were in love with Miss Morimura, weren't you? You said she was mind-hacked. But it was more about you being jealous, wasn't it?
That's hardly...
This may be our last chance to talk. Answer me.
You are correct. Is that what you wanted to hear? That I was driven by some cheap, naive impulse? That I can't think about anything else?
And that's why you brought back my memory too, isn't it? You never cared how you managed to do it. You just wanted her back.
So much.
I'm glad. You really were a slave to your desires. That's the Renya Gouto I remember. It means I don't have to like you after all. Thank you. I think that's all I wanted to hear.
Professor,
You should go. After all, we still have our bet. Although it looks like I'm about to win it. Separated from your mommy? Could you leave me alone? It's dangerous out here. Just come with me, okay? Will you just... What are you... route's that way. Can I bring her too? Hey! That's fine, just hurry up.
For survival of the murder of Chihiro Morimura. And that's 42%. What else is there? That was during the prologue. So, was it during the battles or flashback? What are we doing with the flashback when we have the final battle right here?
Strange. I know this is my first time here, but this suddenly makes me feel so... nostalgic.
Sunsets will do that, I find. Regardless of time period.
Yes, but... this must be... well, I suppose it must be one of those places. So? Where am I going?
I've rented an apartment under a false name.
Can't be any worse than our last accommodations. As long as it's not Rebel, I'll take it.
My apologies. If it's any comfort, I'm certain nobody will find you there. Not Shikishima, and certainly not Miss Morimura. I suppose we have Ida-san to thank for all this. The funds and paperwork he prepared were invaluable.
Tetsuya Ida. And he's still missing, is he?
Yes. Let's go. Chihiro-san.
You think I'm the professor?
That is what I said. You are Professor Chihiro Morimura, a major figure in Shikishima in the year 2188. Namely, the leader of its space initiative.
What are you even talking about?
Just some hypotheticals. A possible interpretation of the evidence I found.
Okay, say I am the professor. Remember, Miss Morimura is the one who created me. You think that was her plan? She wanted a host for the professor and not herself? How would that make sense?
Miss Morimura ran an experiment to grant her clone compatibility. She believed that you were synchronized to her. She believed it was her own data she transmitted. But it was the other Chihiro Morimura in Sector 0. And of course, you entered the world as a newborn, incapable of verbal communication. So Miss Morimura never realized her mistake.
This is all speculation.
Certainly, yes. But if I'm right, and you are the professor, I imagine you were in quite a panic yourself. All things considered, it was a staggering deviation from the original plan.
What original plan?
Among the logs from 2188, one of Tetsuya Ida's noted that he'd found an anomaly. Chihiro Morimura was set to undergo a memory transplant in the final phase. And the final phase, well, that would be us.
I don't know where you think you're going with this.
A bit of patience, please. There's a little more context I need to provide. The log from the future I saw first. That would be the comms log I found with my own ID. The first log I checked held some surprises. The author seemed to be an elderly Renya Gouto. And the date of recording appeared to be 2188. I assumed it was some future version of myself. One that had time traveled into the far future. But now, I don't think that's the case. I believe it's the other way around. In other words, I myself am a clone of him. Every individual I saw in that log footage, they all created clones of themselves.
Clones, huh?
I did find a log that proves this point.
What did you see?
A comms log between you and Professor Takamiya. Her field is genetic engineering, I note.
Professor Takamiya, how are the projections on those self-replicating probes? The simulations look good. Especially the survey range. We never expected a rate of expansion that high. It was definitely the right call to prioritize its strength as a group over individual units. These probes are pretty much living machines now. They self-replicate using natural resources mined from asteroids in their routing. They'll
breaking down. An infinite cycle of self-replication on its way to its target. There's basically zero chance of the tech failing midway through. They'll just keep on going. Probably long after humanity's gone. Glad I came to an expert then. All that's left is the refinement of the memory cube. The infrastructural storage cell, right? The cube's made up of 5 identical memory layers. In theory, it'll compare itself to nearby probes and use them as a template for repairs. And if it can't be repaired, well... fine, 1 probe down. We've got thousands more. And our passengers? I'll be loading them up with the DNA of all the survivors. I've already got samples and data from all 15. Now it's just down to launching them. These clones will go with all our hopes on their shoulders. By the way, what do we do about him? I mean, after that DNA test. We do nothing. He doesn't have to know. What can I even say to him? Not much, I guess.
There were 15 survivors of that colony, each with a clone established to be compatible. Though they grew up in different eras, different worlds. And you aimed to replace your clone's memories with your own. That was your real plan. Right now, I imagine your biggest question is precisely how much of that log I've seen. Am I close? You do have a genius mind, but also the form of a child. I imagine it's harder than usual to hide your agitation.
It's absolutely not. Now you're just trying to trick me?
I'd say, based on that log, Professors Takamiya and Morimura seem to know each other quite well. Maybe you know something about that.
Of course not.
Then perhaps instead, Tsukasa Okino? Being compatible, that makes one part of his identity clear. He's one of the 15 from the year 2188. So, any theories? Who was he in the year 2188? Care to guess?
Stop it.
No? Then allow me to clarify. That boy, Tsukasa Okino, is Professor Chihiro Morimura's son.
I was about to say a male version of her, but I take it back. Oh, it's already too late on that guess, but damn.
But not her child by personal conventional birth. The professor donated her egg cells as a young woman, in accordance with the policies on population control. Their blood relation wasn't exactly obvious, until DNA testing on the clone revealed it. The professor was faced with the truth. He was her son, which naturally sparked an inconvenient surge of maternal instinct. However, Okino himself didn't think highly of the professor. He had his disagreements with the project staff, too. When it seemed like her end was near, the professor recorded him one final message. One last chance for him to know the truth.
Stop! You saw that? But how? You'd need a biometric ID match to access that log. So you should only have been able to access your own. My logs and Okino's should have been locked off.
Thank you, Professor Morimura. Indeed, the files I could access were somewhat limited. Mostly company logs. Meeting reports, call transcripts, bureaucratic chaff. Barely anything in the way of your personal records.
Then, how do you know what was in my logs?
It's simple, really. That should do it for preparations. Now, let's see if the biometric authentication works. Did it go through? Looks like that got me past the initial barrier, at least. Now, with Miss Morimura's ID, I should be able to get into her logs.
What the heck happened here?
Maybe, if I check Miss Morimura's logs, I might find a clue why your biometric ID matches hers. It really is her ID.
Yuri Fuyusaka?
Though unconscious, she proved very helpful. She is Chihiro Morimura, a compatible version. If you really are Miss Morimura, then you should already know who Iori Fuyusaka is. Because that would mean you hid her here in Sector 4. The plan was for the two newborns to grow up with their own separate lives. Ida-san's idea, presumably. Chihiro Morimura was planned to be placed in 2104, and Tetsuya Ida in 2024, yet neither could be found.
I knew Renya Gouto of Shikishima pretty well. You and he are very different. Except that you both make my life a lot harder. So, suppose I am the professor. Then what?
I want to know the truth. I want to know the reasons behind all of this. But that seems unlikely. I imagine you're not inclined to tell me anything.
And why's that?
It'd be inconvenient for you if we had all the facts. Considering you're trying to eliminate us. From the very beginning, you never intended for this world to survive.
Well, 57% clear. Let's go. And we're not even there yet. Alright, we'll end the episode right here. Next episode, we'll continue the other half of Renya Gouto. Like, comment, subscribe, or if not, yeah, we'll leave our last.